The blue and red lights flashed in Colonel Sarah Williams' rearview mirror as she pulled her sedan to the shoulder of Highway 85. She had been driving home from the base after a long day of briefings about the upcoming deployment to Eastern Europe. Her army dress uniform hung neatly in the back seat, her colonel's insignia gleaming even in the dim evening light. Officer Mike Rodriguez approached the vehicle, his hand resting on his service weapon. It had been a stressful shift, 3 domestic violence calls and a drug bust that had gone sideways. When he saw the tinted windows and the driver moving inside the car, his muscles tensed. "License and registration," he called out, his voice sharp. Colonel Williams slowly reached for her glove compartment, her movements deliberate and careful. She had trained countless soldiers on de-escalation techniques, but being on the receiving end felt entirely different. "I'm reaching for my registration now," she said clearly, keeping her hands visible, but Officer Rodriguez misinterpreted her movement toward the glove compartment. In the darkness, with adrenaline coursing through his system, he saw what he believed was a reach for a weapon. "Gun! Gun!" he shouted, drawing his service pistol. The shot rang out across the empty highway. Colonel Williams slumped forward, her hand still clutching her vehicle registration. The irony wasn't lost on her even as shock began to set in. She had served 3 tours in Afghanistan, survived IED attacks and firefights, only to be shot during a routine traffic stop 20 minutes from her home. Officer Rodriguez approached the vehicle, his hands shaking as he called for backup and medical assistance. When he saw the military ID that had fallen from her wallet, when he noticed the dress uniform in the back seat, when he realized the weapon was actually a leather document folder, the full weight of his mistake crashed down on him. "This is Unit 47. I need an ambulance immediately," he radioed, his voice breaking. "Officer involved shooting. The victim, she's military. High-ranking military." As the ambulance sirens wailed in the distance, Colonel Williams fought to stay conscious. She thought about her daughter at college, about the soldiers under her command who looked up to her, about the community meeting she was supposed to attend next week to discuss police-community relations. She survived the shooting, but the incident sparked a national conversation about implicit bias, police training, and the split-second decisions that can change lives forever. The dashcam footage was released, showing clearly that Colonel Williams had posed no threat, that her movements were slow and deliberate, that she had followed every protocol for a traffic stop. Officer Rodriguez was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. The shooting was ruled unjustified, and criminal charges were filed. During the trial, he testified through tears about his fear, his assumptions, his failure to properly assess the situation. "I destroyed a good woman's life because of my own fear and prejudice," he said on the stand. "She served our country with honor, and I repaid that service with a bullet." Colonel Williams, recovering from her injuries, chose to speak publicly about the incident. At a press conference from her hospital bed, she wore her dress uniform despite the doctor's protests. "This isn't just about me," she said, her voice steady despite the pain medication. "This is about every black man, woman, and child who has to fear that a routine interaction with law enforcement could be their last. My military rank didn't protect me that night, just as college degrees, good jobs, or clean records don't protect others." She continued, "But I also want this to be about change. About better training, about confronting unconscious bias, about building bridges between law enforcement and the communities they serve. I've spent my career fighting for this country's ideals abroad. Now I want to fight for them at home." The case became a catalyst for police reform in the state. New de-escalation training was implemented, body cameras became mandatory, and a civilian oversight board was established. Officer Rodriguez, after serving his sentence, became an advocate for police reform, speaking at academies about the devastating consequences of split-second assumptions. Years later, Colonel Williams would retire from the Army and establish a foundation focused on police-community relations. She often said that while the shooting had changed her life irreversibly, she was determined to ensure that change would be for the better, not just for herself, but for countless others who deserved to feel safe in their own communities. The intersection of Highway 85 where it happened now bears a small memorial plaque, not for a death, but for a rebirth, a reminder that even in our darkest moments, we can choose to build something better from the broken pieces.